If you are looking for a job abroad, you are in the right place. Welcome to Start Your International Career, your guide to finding a job abroad. In this episode, we have Adam Sobstyl, a physiotherapist who is originally from Poland and who worked for 2 years in Switzerland. Adam, welcome to the podcast.
Hello, Juan. Thank you for hosting me today.
It's a pleasure to have you because the story of how we met is super interesting. It was by accident, literally. I had an accident with my shoulder where I was doing snowboard for the first time here in Switzerland, and you were the physiotherapist that treated me and helped me with the recovery. So it's a coincidence of life to to be now today speaking about moving abroad. And before we go into details on your career and why did you want to move abroad, can you quickly explain what do you do as a physiotherapist and what did you study?
So I studied at a medical university, physiotherapy in Poland. I got a master's degree there, and then I right away moved to Switzerland. Yeah, sport was always my main focus, but there I worked also with, let's say, general patients.
Okay. And your job as a physiotherapist is to help with recovery, patients that have an injury and help with recovery. Okay.
Basically, yes, like helping people to come back to, let's say, normal life, normal activities, but also bringing back the athletes to the sport after the
Okay.
injury.
And you were working before in Poland, before you moved to Switzerland. I guess you had a good job, you had a good life, you were happy overall. So why did you want to move?
So yeah, so basically, there's always a thought in my mind that I would like to actually live abroad, check myself in the different environments, see how it is to live abroad, challenge myself basically. And yeah, Switzerland was a natural choice for me. I visited Switzerland many times before, and it was always very appealing. Like you heard good things about the economics, about people there, about how many, let's say, opportunities are there, and also it's very specific for the medical field, where in every single list, when you compare the quality of healthcare, usually Switzerland is on the top of the list. So it was also natural choice to check how are they doing this, what is the system there. So yeah, all of those
Okay.
reasons.
So you had Switzerland in your target. You didn't just want to move abroad, you wanted to come to Switzerland.
Yeah, like in the beginning, let's say when I started thinking about this, when I still studying, I was like, okay, it would be nice to maybe try in England or in Germany or in France, yeah. But there wasn't anything that could actually give me enough of the advantage to move there. But Switzerland was the thing. Like everything was on its place, and that's why I was really sure about the
Okay.
direction.
All right. So you fixed your target in Switzerland and said, I know I'm going to work in Switzerland. Then how did you get your job?
Also, it was by accident. I met the physiotherapy company sorry, the owner of physiotherapy company at the gym. I was just visiting in Switzerland. I went to a gym, and yeah, the gym owner told me that actually a company is opening here. So I instantly realized what an opportunity is that, and yeah, she just connected us, the gym owner, and with the owners of the company, and yeah, I said I'm actually looking for a job in Switzerland. I want to move here, and it's already all set up. So it took me another half a year to like organize all the documents, of course, organize all the moving, and yeah, I
Wow,
got
that's
it.
like the ideal scenario for someone looking for a job. Like someone comes to you and they say, we're
Oh
opening.
yeah,
Are you interested? Yes, actually, I was looking to move there.
exactly like that. I think if the light looks straight into your eyes, you should look back, and that was the case where I really saw very bright that it's an opportunity I
Okay,
must
that's
take.
amazing. You were also ready for that opportunity. That's important.
Kind of, yeah. Like my mind was fully ready. My life situation, let's say, not really. I mean, I still had a lot to organize before that, because you never really prepare until you have everything set up and you have no choice. Yeah, then you must prepare. So that was the biggest impulse of all of the let's say reasons to start preparing, to start learning German, to start organizing the documents you need. Yeah, sorry, out of emotions, I have to my laptop.
You remember in the good
So
times,
yeah,
yes.
exactly. I remember this energy that it gave me. So yeah, that's the
All
story
right.
behind it.
You said you were coming to Switzerland, and at that time you were training. I assume you had friends or family in Switzerland before.
Yeah, I had actually my family lived on the border, so so it was close to Switzerland. But yeah, also I got some friends there.
Okay, so you were visiting your friends and got time to go to the gym, and then this opportunity came. All right.
Exactly like
And
that.
was there something that helped you stand out as a candidate? So I understand they were opening a gym and they would have a lot of applications, a lot of candidates. Would you say you had something special?
So I think the special thing, yeah, my special quality that was actually in this situation giving me the biggest chance was that I work in actively. So in physiotherapy, you can work either with the passive techniques or with active. Yeah, they focus on the training, on making people move, and then that's my main focus. And they needed somebody like me because they had already many manual therapists that are like massaging, using the like hands-on therapy techniques, and yeah, they were missing a guy who can make
Mhm.
people move after an injury because it was basically placed on at the gym, so it made perfect sense.
Okay, okay, that's a good one. So they were looking specifically for the discipline or the techniques that you use for physiotherapy, and you happen to be there.
More or less, more or less. I think also it was also maybe actually the English was a good side of it because they opened one location in the city center, so like yeah, it's very
Mhm.
international. So I think once you got the job in the city center, it's easier with good English basically to
Okay.
get the job.
And did you have any interview process? Did you have any application process? I'm interested to understand what were the challenges to get the job.
So with this particular job, it wasn't so, to be honest, it wasn't so challenging. It was very regular. I just sent my CV. They checked it. They were like, okay, this looks nice. So when can we meet? So we met once to discuss how it's gonna be. We also had like few calls to maybe let's say organize the most important things about the contract, the most important parts of my job, and then I had 3 days. It's called Probetak, so it was like a
Prime period.
yeah internship, let's say. Yeah, like 3 days, 3 days of working basically with them and looking how do they work and also showing few of
Okay.
my skills.
All right. And for example, for visa or work permit, did you have any issue with that?
No, so from the European country, I mean European Union countries, it's kind of easy. So once you got the contract, that process is much easier because then you just go to the authority. You say, look, I got the contract. I can make living here out of this job. So please give me a visa that you see suitable for my situation. And usually is for physiotherapists, as I know, it's usually permit B. So it gives you 5 years of calm because this is how long can you stay with
Mhm.
visa B.
Okay, clear. Then regarding your diploma as a physiotherapist, did you have any issue to get it recognized in Switzerland, or it was exactly the same, 1-1?
So yeah, so with this, actually I had some issues. Usually the process takes, let's say, up to 3 months, I think, but it can take much longer if they find some inconsistency in your documents, let's
Mm.
say. So your diploma, like in the perfect way, your diploma should look exactly the same with the same skills listed as the Swiss one. And if it's not, then the problem starts because then they want you to prove that you actually got the skill they required from your university. Like if the country is in the Bologna system and the universities are following this system, yeah, so then it's kind of equalized. You just gather credits, and if you got enough credits, you got promoted to another year, and then you got your degree. So if it looks like that in your country, it should be easier. But I know some cases where it was problematic, and they didn't get the nostrification straightforward. They needed to actually do kind of internship or additional training that takes at least 6 months. So it can be tricky. But to be honest, it's really hard to say. I got my master's degree in Poland, and it was medical university, and it was almost no issue. I just needed few documents from my university. But I know also people from sports science universities that got their notification quite smooth. So I think it really depends what do you have in your diploma supplement, what's
Okay, I
there.
see. So it can happen that depending on the country that issued your diploma, the country where you studied, you could come here not as a fully graduated, but you will still need to do some internship or some extra course.
Oh yeah, this for sure. I mean, if there is, as I said, if it doesn't match the Swiss physiotherapy studying curriculum, then for sure you're gonna have to do some additional training. I don't know that many cases though where it was required, but still there are
Okay,
some. But what's the rule there? To be honest, I really don't know.
I see. And talking about differences between, in your case, Poland versus Switzerland, did you notice any difference when working?
Oh, for sure. So first main difference is that in Switzerland you always work in the system where a visit is 30 minutes. That's shorter than in Poland because in Poland it's 1 hour. So this is the first big difference because it makes your schedule filled with, for example, 16 patients a
Wow,
day. So it can be kind of crazy when you switch, yeah, from patient to patient. It's another person each half an hour,
you need
and that can
to
be.
receive the next one, right?
I mean, basically, yes. You start in one visit and you don't notice where you go, and you are ready to start another visit. So in the beginning, I really got those situations when I was having the delay, and it was like collecting throughout the day. So in the end, I had like half an hour, for example, delay. It was sometimes like that, but it was those first days when I really needed to realize how to manage that because it was something new and something different. But yeah, I think apart from that, I would say I see many advantages of the system of physiotherapy in Switzerland. So, for example, the accessibility of the physiotherapy. So basically, every single doctor, every single specialist in Switzerland can prescribe physiotherapy. So if you go to the family doctor, or if you go to a specialist, or even a chiropractor can prescribe physiotherapy. So it's easy to get a prescription. It's yeah, it's accessible to everyone. So you first of all, there's no issue with another prescription if you need that. It's easy to have enough time, let's say, to treat people, even though the visit is half an hour. And yeah, the other advantage, but coming for the same reason, is have quite a wide span of the patients because yeah, as I said, it's well accessible. So you got people from many different economical backgrounds, many different work environments, jobs. Yeah, it's a huge mix. Maybe it mostly depends on the place, the district you
Hmm.
work in.
Okay. So you get to meet a lot of different people from different backgrounds and different nationalities, I guess, as well, because you were in Zurich and Zurich is
Yeah, I
super
mean,
international.
that's right. And speaking of Speaking of which, that was actually very challenging because in my job, the cultural background also plays a huge role. How do you perceive your injury? How do you perceive actually your health? Like for that also plays a big role in your in your health. And whoa, like sometimes it was hard to understand what can be the issue or how to help this person. And it wasn't the language barrier, which also plays a role here because we sometimes both don't speak in our native
Mhm.
languages, and together with cultural differences, it can be sometimes even more difficult, as if it was easy to understand the other person in your own language. It's also hard. But I think, yeah, that was something that I also need to learn. And yeah, I actually kind of didn't think about it because I haven't had so many opportunities to work with people from other cultural backgrounds and also so distant to Polish, because in Zurich, as you said, like it's very international. You have people from Africa, from
Yeah,
America, from
everywhere.
both Americas, all the Europe, exactly. So yeah, it's a big
Mhm.
mix of everything.
And you were mentioning before that everyone can prescribe. I wanted to ask you about insurance, the relationship between physio, doctor, and insurance, because Switzerland is famous for having insurance, an insurance that is not cheap and is mandatory for everyone. And also in Switzerland, when you are an employee, you have accident insurance, which is covered by your employer. So in my case, for example, when I had the snowboarding accident, my accident insurance was the one covering for the physiotherapy. So that I think pushes a lot more people to physiotherapists because they are all covered. They don't need to pay themselves. Did you notice any impact on this insurance in your job?
So yeah, I think yeah, like let's start with that. All the systems, healthcare systems have their weaker sides, yeah. But I think the Swiss system works. Yeah, I think it's one of the best around the world because once again, I must say it's very well accessible. So even though you need to pay like each month the health insurance yourself, the difference between the highest for it's called franchise, so the part you pay yourself before the insurance pays, yeah. So the difference between the lowest one and the highest one is just 120 francs. So if you add 130 franc 20 francs to each month to your insurance, you already are covered from almost everything. Like basically anything happens, you don't pay for it. It's almost this kind of relation. So that makes people go into physios, but very often with minor problems, minor issues. So I can say that in Switzerland you work a lot as a physio with prevention, not just with injuries. That's the first effect of how the healthcare system is built. The second thing with this relation is also that mm, the insurance usually has no issue with paying for you for really many visits. It can be, for example, 50 or even more for one single injury. So if a specialist prescribes you physiotherapy, if they see it helpful in your case, you're gonna most probably gonna receive it, and there will be no questions asked. And yeah, with you, everybody who works in Switzerland needs to be insured by your by the employee by the employer. Sorry. So yeah, if you have an accident that doesn't allow you to work, then everything is covered, even without
Mhm.
your own part that you need to
Okay,
pay.
good insight on that one, that they have no issue on extending your treatment. And also that I think it was an interesting point for physiotherapists that in Switzerland, you mainly focus on the prevention and not so much on the injury itself because you have more cases of prevention than injuries. I think this will help a lot of people.
I mean, maybe to correct in this one, it's also, I mean, you work also with injuries because most of the people don't see a physio until they're really bad, yeah. But because of everybody can prescribe it, then you come to physio much
Mhm.
earlier than, for example, in Poland. Because in Poland you come to the physio when you're already broken,
Yes.
let's say, yeah. here you come, let's say, one specialist earlier, or for example, few months earlier, so you already can start working with the problem. So yeah, earlier, and then my profession earlier is better.
Okay.
So
And talking about these language barriers that you were mentioning before, about the differences with every client, in Zurich, the local language is German and Swiss German. So, did you have to study German before coming here? Were you already fluent? Was this part of the job agreement?
when I came to Zurich, my German was on the B1 level, so not even close to what I needed to work as a physio in German. But my good luck was that mainly I got patients which were also English speaking. So that wasn't a big issue in the beginning, although I had few patients that I needed to handle in German. And to be, yeah, to be honest, I'm not happy about what kind of healthcare did they receive from me in that time. Yeah, but that was the case, and like in the end, we were successful with these people, but yeah, like my German wasn't the best, so for sure I could be more effective, I could be better. But when I came to Zurich already, then my German skills improved a lot. I accelerated with learning the language, but the truth is, I put a lot of
Mhm.
effort into it. Like after 8 hours of work, I still sat for like 3 to 4 hours every day, also on the weekends, just to learn German because I just felt that without this skill, I have no development opportunities in my job. Like no way. So I think it's much easier to get better job, to be better in your job once you got your German at least on B2 level, but the higher B2, let's say. Yeah, because I
Yeah,
mean,
to me.
I really went through this path. Yeah, I really went through this path, and passing the exam is let's say the beginning of the journey, not the end. But for sure, it helps a lot. Also, people see you differently once you speak to the Swiss patient in German. I think it's very respectful, and also you start understanding what's going on around you, and that's pretty cool. That makes you also feel more like home, maybe more
Yeah,
assimilated.
more
So
integrate into the country. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So all efforts into learning German. I would
Okay.
say that.
So, if we could give advice to a physiotherapist that wants to move abroad in general and specifically in Switzerland, what would you say?
So yeah, I would say learn German as early as possible as the first thing, and also start organizing your documents as early as possible because it takes time, and most of them you can organize before you're there. So once you're there, you should leave the minimum of the documents that you need to organize, because being in Switzerland and waiting for another document, waiting for like being able to start your work, or maybe to be promoted or to get a better salary, that's painful. And then you don't want this in Switzerland. You want to have the best start possible, and that gives you that. So those two things: have your documents ready before you move, learn the best German possible
Okay.
before you move.
And in terms of looking for opportunities, are there any job portals or any platforms to check for physiotherapist jobs?
Yeah, there is Swiss Physio, for example. This is like a whole federation of or association of physiotherapists that is a connector between the government and the physiotherapists, and also they organize the local chambers, let's say, of physiotherapy in each canton. So I would look for the job opportunities on their website, and also on the, let's say, the most popular job websites, because like on all of those websites, let's say there are the same offers, and they are, I would say, mediocre. And the best offers, you won't get them for your first job until you know somebody that works in this place and knows about the job opportunity before it's listed on those websites. Because yeah, that's my experience. Like first job most probably will not be your dream job. It will be something very mediocre, but I think it's it's all right because you will need this time that you could put into your work for realizing actually who are you, what's going on around you. You can, yeah, like still improve the language skills. And yeah, once you're in a place that is not your job, like your dream job, you can make all those mistakes, and that doesn't hurt you, and you can really prepare well for the next job that's gonna be already your best
Okay.
choice.
So advice for in terms of looking for opportunities would be check the typical ones like LinkedIn or Jobs.ch and Swiss Physio.
Exactly.
And then if you find an opportunity, just take it, come here, use that as a bridge to start getting experience, start touching the Swiss market and getting the hang of it. And then you can move to a bigger opportunity afterwards when you are already in the industry.
Exactly. In the beginning, I wasn't happy about my job. Yeah, it was the first job. There were many things that weren't right for me. It wasn't like the field where I wanted to work, etc., etc. But after, like, now from this perspective I got today, it was great. Actually, I could have made all those mistakes that I made, and also it was really good, let's say, classroom for my language skills, for my physio skills, for yeah, getting to know better the culture of Switzerland, of also other actually people of other nationalities. So yeah, like for now, from the perspective, I would say it was better that it
Mhm.
was like that.
Okay.
Ah, sorry, and one more
Yes.
information where you can find jobs. Actually, this is, I think it's specific for Switzerland. So many places they list their job offers on the website, on their own website. So for example, if you look for the places on the Google Maps, maybe around the place you got your apartment, or maybe I don't know, you found a place that really resonates with your energy, then I would really recommend to check their website if they're not looking for the for new
Mhm.
employees.
So you mean that some of the vacancies are not posted on big job portals, they are only posted on the specific website. Okay, that's
Exactly,
a good tip.
exactly.
Okay. And
Yeah, sometimes they just look constantly and they don't want to list it in a particular moment, but they're looking for CVs because maybe in half a year they're gonna
mm,
need somebody. So it's good to send it anyways.
okay, yeah. So you need to have a list of physiotherapy or gyms saved in Google Maps and keep reviewing them constantly
Exactly.
if they
Thanks.
open. A vacancy. Okay. And I want to go back to your previous point about the conditions, about the salaries for your first opportunity. What is a salary range that you can give for a physiotherapist starting in Switzerland?
Yeah, so I think you shouldn't go, you should never go lower, I think, than 75,000 a year. I think this is where the offers usually start, and if anybody proposes something lower, then for sure there must be something that we're okay about this. There must be a trick to it. And yeah, and then to be honest, for Switzerland, I think it's the sky's the limit. If you yeah, like really, if you develop in this profession, if you all the time enhance your skills, if your language is on the proper level, and you're good in networking, you can have a really good job, very satisfying and well paid. But for sure, what Swiss people pay the most willingly is the experience and what do you deliver. So if you have the skills to deliver, if you're a well educated good professional, there will be money waiting for you in Swiss market. But yeah, I think it's really reserved for the best. So yeah, it's quite kind of fair. Like the market soaks the talents, I would say. So if you invest in yourself, then you're gonna pay
Okay.
back.
So the entry range for an entry role would be 70 to 75. And what could we
Something like that.
consider a good salary range for a physiotherapist that has been in the market for some time?
Oh, so I think it starts on 75 and ends on something above 100, I
Mhm.
think. That's something you could expect as a more experienced physio, maybe with more, also with managing role, because not many physios actually are keen on managing. That's the thing
Okay.
about my profession. And yeah, and if you got those skills, who knows, maybe this will be also, it can be easier sometimes to get this role. And of course, with more duties, you got also better
Correct.
salary.
Thanks for sharing. Then talking about the life itself
You're
in
welcome.
Switzerland, how would you say is the work-life balance?
Oh, depends on, it depends for who, because for physios, I think it's okay. Like you got few public holidays. Usually you got 25 days of holidays, so yeah, it's kind of a lot. It's a good standard, and they're all fully paid, of course. You got also special holidays for additional courses or conferences, which also makes it like it's time for development, but it's still fully paid from employer, and it still doesn't count as like real holiday. You don't rest in this time. So I can say that's pretty cool.
It is. Yes.
But yeah, I think it's something that's not so common in other countries. But yeah, in Zurich, in Zurich it can be a little bit boring for some people. So it's important to have your own circle of people that you spend time with. Get to know city well because it's not a big city and with amazing public transport. So just traveling with public transport, you can see a lot of the city and find your places. Like check the not just the most popular venues, also just travel around and look for the place where you're feeling right. And I think that helps with the work-life balance because many people travel from Zurich. Like there are many flights connections, mountains around. There is a lake, so yeah, if you put effort into it, I think it's cool about that. But I know many people that work their hard, they work their head as off because it's very appealing also like to work all the time because the
Mm.
money is good. It can be kind of addictive. Some
Mentioning
people can really
extra
fall into this
hours,
hole.
I
Yeah,
guess, right? Mentioning physiotherapists that
yeah,
want to
yeah,
do
like
extra
extra
hours for more
hours.
money.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. And as I said, the patients are there, they're waiting. So in most places you have waiting lists. So yeah, there's no problem with extra
Okay.
hours.
And you were mentioning social life. Was it difficult for you to rebuild your social life in Switzerland?
Well, I must say, no, really. I'm doing a lot of sports. So if you have a sporty person, it's gonna be incredibly easy for you because either Swiss people and I feel like the people that live in Zurich, they like to move, and it's super easy to find a running group to go to the gym, and usually I think that comes from Germany because the German part has a big tradition of gathering together into clubs, into organizations, and in every single gym you got usually classes where people are also organizing from time to time an event to integrate together. So yeah, once you're a sporty person, I think it's gonna be incredibly easy. Because for me it was,
Yeah.
and many of the people I knew, they were in my circle, were either from sports or from
Yeah,
my
I
job.
agree.
Yeah,
If you're a
so
sporty person,
that
there are a
was
lot
the
of
case.
clubs here to join, or it's very easy to match with people that are doing the same sport as you or to try different sports. It's like Switzerland pushes you to be a sporty person. If you were not before, you
Basically,
are
yeah.
now when you spend some time here. I have a friend that was doing zero sports, but like really zero sports in Spain, and now he's doing half marathons. He's going up the mountains. Completely changed because your environment pushes you to do that.
And also it's kind of easier to do it in Switzerland because you got, yeah, coming back to the topic of work-life balance, I think you have enough savings, you can build enough savings to let yourself also to start like undertake any hobby or maybe give up on those extra hours and instead go run, yeah. And if you have this mindset, where is your enough, then I think you're gonna have enough time for
Yeah.
sport as well.
And if we could say only one good thing and bad thing about Switzerland, what is the best and the worst for you?
The best for sure, this will be the people. The people. I mean, the Swiss people, also the people that just come to Switzerland, because I feel like there's this kind of energy in all the people that for action, yeah. All the people that came there, they usually have some side projects, so it's very inspiring. And when you talk about this, you got many new ideas because of that, because you hear how much is going on, and the Swiss people itself, themselves, they are just crazy kind, and once you, yeah, of course, like maybe the first contact is not the easiest one, but once you make friends with them, they're great. They're super kind. They're very helpful. They also are usually well educated, so it's super cool to talk to them. Their mindset is quite interesting. I must say, I learned a lot from the Swiss nation, and I for sure you're gonna stay with me forever. Yeah, that was super nice about Switzerland. The people I met there, and the biggest disadvantage I think is maybe it's specific for Zurich because I don't know how is the rest of the Switzerland. To be honest, I just get to know Zurich, but I must say the lifestyle where the money basically replaces every single value in your life, because as I said before, it's easy to access big money in Zurich, and I met a lot of people that above all the things in their life they loved money, and that's super sad to watch, because it's not just about money, it's also about your choices. Then you chase more expensive watch, more expensive car, and it's hard to be the richest in Zurich
It's
because there's
impossible.
always somebody on the corner with better Ferrari or something. So yeah, that's crazy how incredibly rich people can you meet there, and chasing the money always was personally for me it was actually sad. And how people like fall into this lifestyle where there are like
Yeah.
this unhealthy lifestyle, say like where drugs, like unhealthy food, and then chasing just that, where there are so many nice people around you, which could give you much more happiness
Yeah.
in life.
That's a good reflection. Indeed, in Switzerland, especially in Zurich, you see people with a lot of money. Although I have to say, my impression of Swiss people is not that they like to be showing off. They don't like to spend a lot of money
Oh
and
yeah,
and
yeah.
and really show it off. But there are exceptions to the rule, and indeed, you see people just going after the money and not caring about anything else, and you can get lost in that. That's a good reflection. So, Adam,
To be honest, I mostly speak.
no,
Yeah,
please go ahead.
because yeah, because the people usually with people with money, I mean, with like flexing with the money, usually are not the Swiss people. Yeah, that's a fact. I agree 100%. I think this is something also cultural that the Swiss people don't like showing off too much, and
Could be, yeah.
that's something actually, yeah, that you should know
Yeah.
about them, I think.
So let's say you had a friend that is still undecided about moving abroad. How would you convince your friend to move abroad?
So I think the best thing about moving abroad is how big of a challenge is that, and how much will you develop yourself during this path. So I think if you're looking for development, if you want new direction in your life, if you want to challenge yourself, then move abroad and enjoy it. I tell you right now, it's gonna be crazy hard, but you will adapt, and this will make you much stronger than you think it can, because yeah, like you've never have this kind of changes in the place where you live. You will not put yourself out of your comfort zone that much as it can, yeah, as a moving abroad can do to you. And maybe also another thing is you're gonna meet people that you would never meet if you stay in the place where you live, and those people can also change your life. For example, me and
Yes,
you, we both love techno, and I would never start playing techno without you, and now I enjoy myself doing this, and this is like it's an amazing experience to do this now, and I will always remember why is it so, yeah, because it was you who showed me the basics of that, and so yeah, and I don't think I would even start doing this if I stay here in Poland. So So yeah, there are opportunities awaiting you that are such unique that you cannot think of for now because yeah, you never know the world will bring
Yeah.
you.
I think that's a good reflection, and I would say something similar to someone that wants to move abroad but is still undecided. Like you will be a completely new person after moving out. And the point that you mentioned about the people, absolutely. Like no way you can meet so many people from so many backgrounds if you stay in your hometown. Just to put into context for the for the audience, during the therapy sessions, we used to talk about our hobbies, and one hobby that we had in common was techno music. And then we started going to techno parties and also mixing. So you say it in a way like I'm a super DJ or something like that, but I just had 10 more minutes of experience than you. That's it. That's all I showed.
But but Juan, your DJ skills were yeah were like much better than mine because I was starting. So yeah, like it's always gonna be like that, you know. But and yeah, that was yeah that was actually something that connected
Yeah.
us. So I couldn't think of this story if I sat in the same place for the
Yeah.
last 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
this is how the life is.
Great. Good advice. Then I have three quick questions with three quick answers as well. The first one is, which was your favorite local food in Switzerland?
So yeah, favorite local food is
Spätzle.
Käsespätzle.
Okay.
Mainly you can eat it in mountains. It's like potatoes with cheese.
If you say like
It's
that,
like
sounds simple, but it's really good. It's really tasty.
well, no, it's
Yeah.
worth trying. Yeah.
Then one book that you recommend, and it can be any topic.
Um. So yeah, topics will be from more or less my field. So how we learn to move, Rob Guy, and the guy explains scientifically, basing on the papers from starting from 1920 until now, how the process of moving or learning the new movement skills looks like, and gives you the scientific background. How should we effectively teach people moving, which is crucial in my job if you start from scratch after an
All right.
injury.
Thanks for the recommendation. And last one is the best piece of advice that you have ever received.
Ooh, the best piece of advice that I've ever received. I think, can I say two?
Yep, go ahead.
Because both are actually connected to moving to Switzerland. So first one was from a lady. She's a Polish lady. I gave a massage to once I was visiting Switzerland, and yeah, I had this connection. So we connected, and I did a physiotherapy session for her. And she told me if I want to move to Switzerland, I need to be strong like never. Like she told me this very serious like that. And in that time, I didn't know what that she mean. I was like, oh, what a crazy lady is that? I mean, like was she so serious about it? But then I understood what she meant. You really need to prepare yourself well for such a challenge. And then I recalled those words many times, and I was like, yeah, actually, that's right. I'm gonna be the strongest version of myself. And I know that's kind of really motivated me during the tougher times of that story. And the second thing was from my Filipino friend. So the guy told me that if you always are yourself among everybody, then you don't have to ever play. And I think it's super cool for like super cool life approach. So if you always show your true face, let's say, if you always really give yourself this opportunity to be yourself, to act like you want, then you're always gonna be sure about what you've done, if it was right, if it was aligned with your values, and that also resonates until today with me. And I'm trying always to don't block my inner voice. What should I do in all the situations? And of course, sometimes you fail, sometimes you win, but in general, I try to do this
I like
until
that.
today.
Yeah. Be yourself and don't try to force a personality that it's not you. Good. And then last but not least, I know that you are working on a project of your own. Now you moved back to Poland. You have some entrepreneurship adventure. So please tell us a bit about it and where can we find you?
Yeah, when I was in Switzerland already, and also like many years before, I always was connected to sports. So I started to think about how can I help athletes coming back to the field, coming back to the sport after the injury, and then also enhance the performance of the athletes. And I just developed an online service that provides that. So it's basically a set of consultations, of monitoring, of guiding through the process of rehabilitation, also of building up the process that's going to support the sport. So I just provide those services to amateur and professional athletes, everything online. So I'm not restricted to the area where I live. And of course, all of that bases on good communication and cooperation between all the specialists that are also on site, because of course you can never work alone. It's always the team. So we just provide that. For now, it's just physiotherapy and strength and conditioning, but in the future also it's gonna be dietitians, sports psychologists, and also orthopedic doctors. So that's the plan to build up the
Okay, I'll
platform.
keep an eye on that. And we'll leave the link in the description so they can find you. That was it. Thank you very much, Adam. I think you had a lot of good tips for physiotherapists that want to move into Switzerland. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Juan. Thank you a lot for
Ciao.
hosting me.